Good evening, our dear loyal listeners of Radio Van. This is our evening English-speaking show, American in Yerevan, with Rafi Petrosyan.
And the lovely Ina MK.
Thank you. And we are on air every Wednesday and Friday from 9 to 11 p.m. We are here to add a scoop of positive mood to your Friday night tonight. That is why we invite positive people to our studio. One of them is our guest tonight, IT specialist. Attention, volunteer coordinator of Idea Foundation. And as I just recently found out from Rafi, magician and even actor.
Yes, and a professional athlete at one time.
Wow, that's a lot. Tico Gevorkan, welcome.
Hi.
Hello, Tico.
Hi, my pleasure to be in here and in this lovely studio. And I'm very much looking forward to this wonderful conversation that we're having tonight.
Cool.
Great.
So you're feeling great, I could tell.
I do.
That's great. And welcome to our studio. And did you know that this is a very special episode tonight that
Why
we're
is
having?
it? What's so special about tonight?
Rafi, it's our anniversary episode. We're 1 year old tonight. We're still infants.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
But
We're just learning how to talk right now.
we had a long way to go, and we had more than 60 episodes, and now we're here.
Wow.
So congratulations. Happy birthday
To
to us.
us.
Cha-cha-cha. Okay, so I think we're gonna have a little break, a little music break, and then come back and find out all the interesting stuff about our guests. Yes, unbelievable soundtrack, unbelievable music. And we're here back in our studio.
Back live in the studio with Ina MK.
And Rafi Petrosyan.
The Radio Von studios are located here in the heart of Yerevan. And we've got a special guest with us tonight, Tico. He's a good friend of mine, actually. We've known each other for 3 years now, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
3 years. It flew by just so quickly. Yeah.
and I know Tico for 4 years.
4 years.
So it's like
Yeah, it's a small world here in Yerevan. The big city is a small place.
small Armenian world.
Yeah, we
It
just
is.
found out today that we all know each other.
It is.
Yeah,
So-
Tico is my coordinator. So when I first came over here to Armenia, I came over with the Birthright program. And if you guys don't know, that's the one that it brings diaspora from all over the world to come and spend time over here in Armenia. And Tico was, what was your position there?
I was officially the host family and the language coordinator. So I was in charge of getting Rafi's house where he lived, and also for
the
teaching Rafi
orientation?
Armenian language.
You failed. Or it's a work in progress, let's say that.
Okay, so we know that you were an exchange student, right?
I was.
One of the big army of exchange students. So could you tell us a little bit about your extreme adventures wow. That was quick.
What is that?
We have a
we've got a
phone
caller?
call.
Wow, okay.
You can have your headphones on
Okay.
to listen to the caller. Okay.
Are those on? I'm not sure.
Hello. Hello. Who is this?
Hello? Anyone there?
Echoing. Oh,
Oh,
maybe next time.
it was a deaf person, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe they were too shy. Next time. Okay, Tico John.
Yeah,
can
try
you
again.
please-
Whoever that was, give us another try.
Yeah, we can start your story about your exchange year, and maybe we'll get our caller back.
Sure. Well, I was actually one of the exchange students in the Future Leaders Exchange Program, it was called.
That's what I've always wondered. What does Flex
Flex.
stand for?
Yeah,
Okay,
Flex
future.
program, Future Leaders Exchange,
Okay.
Yes.
Sounds much more official now.
which basically how it works is they take high school students and they take them to America to study in a high school there. And a lot of people, I know this, a lot of people have a wrong understanding of what like exchange is. A lot of people are asking me, so was there an American who came to Armenia and lived
Yeah.
in your family? Well, actually,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
going to
what
answer
they
this
ask.
question.
Right.
It's more of a cultural exchange that we're talking about. So
And
I
this
did my
is what
year.
our show is about, actually, cultural
Yeah.
exchange.
Yeah, that's very true.
So I did my year. Studied. I went to New Mexico, which is
No.
which is a quite a bizarre experience. I'm telling you.
Did you get to choose where you were going?
No, I wasn't. No.
Were you a senior?
Huh?
A senior or a junior?
Well, it was my last year of school here in Armenia, and it was a 10th grade system back then.
But
And
back
so in
there-
America, I did go to the sophomore class, 10th year.
I was a senior. Yay!
Yeah.
I was the only 15-year-old senior in our class.
15-year-old senior?
Yeah, they used to call me a little pumpkin.
Well, I was actually offered. Well, later on, I walked into the dean's office and I was like, "Hey guys, do you realize that my grades and the classes that I undertook are enough for me to be in a senior class, right? But it's okay. Just call me a sophomore." So I was pretty much the only graduating sophomore from my school in America because I attended the final party and stuff.
The prom?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I attended the prom, although I was
Did you have a
although I
date?
was a sophomore. No, I didn't. And the reason for that was there were just so many people who were asking me out. Seriously, the girls were asking me out,
The exotic guy from
Yeah.
Armenia.
Right.
and I just couldn't say like yes to someone because the others would get offended. So
And you
I
could
was
have
like,
just take them all.
Yeah,
Like, get one big limo.
That's why I was
Should've
like,
done that.
guys, sorry, I don't want to offend no one, so probably I'm gonna be alone. But it was still cool. I mean, like my friends at the prom, and me, that was like a very awesome experience that I had that day.
Uh-huh.
And could you tell us a little bit about your family? Because we know that there are some interesting stories connected with
There are a lot of interesting stories. Well, I guess the first question that's supposed to be asked is like why people call me Tico, not Tigran. It started off from my host family. So
That's probably
the day I
same
arrived
thing with my MK. MK.
okay.
That's the same story. Yeah, keep
So,
going. I'll tell you
Because
later.
us Americans can't pronounce your guys' names.
Exactly.
No, Makurcha, they're like
Makurcha.
Nina MK, could you come to the house? I was
No,
like,
I was in the airport. My host mom approached to me, being like, "Are you Tigran?" I'm like, "It's Tigran." Tigran. I'm like, Tigran.
Tiger on.
Tigran. I'm like, just call me Tico.
Yeah.
So obviously they didn't make. No one was able to say Tico like in Armenian. In Armenia they do. Yeah, they use the Armenian letter T. And then K, and it's like there's an
Tico.
U in the end, so it's like Tico.
Tico.
Yeah, and that's how I got my name, because later on everyone was having a hard time pronouncing my name. They even wrote about me in the newspapers, and they were like writing Tigran, Tico Gevorkian. So but yeah, my host family. I mean, that was another very interesting experience that I had living in another family. I mean, they were Native Americans, Navajo tribe, which is quite an interesting experience itself.
So were you living on a Native American reservation?
My small city was just outside, like literally on the border of reservation. But my family owned a farm on the reservation, so we were going there like once a week.
To light fireworks and shoot guns kind of thing?
Shoot guns, no fireworks. we had the kettle in there, and it was really beautiful. Well, that year was a draft year, so everything was dry, but the mountains were still there. Did a lot of climbing in the reservation, and really, like, reservation, when people talk about reservation, a lot of them know the word but don't really think
What it is.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree. Like, I have never spent time on a reservation.
We want
I mean,
some
you've got
funny stories.
Yeah, you probably got a
Tico.
very unique experience over there.
Funny stories.
Remember.
I can't remember any funny stories that happened on the reservation itself, to be honest. Because, I mean, reservation, it's like basically a village that you're living in. There's... you don't have the guarantees that that day you will have electricity in there.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's a purely rural area that people are living in, but it's fun. I mean, my host grandpa was living on the reservation, on that farm, and he was a very interesting man himself. He was a pure Navajo, didn't speak any English.
Really?
Yeah, and although my host mom was a Christian, my host grandpa was a shaman. So he believed in all those spirits, and he was
Oh.
That is so cool.
dancing
So
around the fire. And
did he teach you all the magic stuff or no?
not really, not really.
Oh, you
But-
should. That would be great.
Yeah, but I mean, like a lot of my host brothers told me, those stories about the spirits, which they obviously heard from their grandpa. And there are some very interesting, I would say, religious traditions that they follow, and a lot of interesting stories related to, I don't know how you call it, shamanism or
Yeah, shamanism.
yeah, shamanism.
And you were able to participate in those things.
Not really, because that's like, more of an adult kind of thing, go out
And you were
on top
15
of
at
the
the
Yeah,
time.
I was 15,
Okay,
so
Tico-chan,
go
I'm
out on top
sure-
of the mountain and dance around the fire, like speaking in Navajo and singing.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that you'll think of some interesting stories after we have our music break and
Sounds
an
good.
advertisement,
Right.
and think of one that is really worth telling.
Well,
Okay, stay tuned and call 560-901. We're still here till 11 o'clock. It's real love, and there's real magic going on here in our studio tonight. And if you want to learn some new tricks by Tico Gevorkyan, or maybe just watch them, join our conversation tonight by calling 560-901 and ask this interesting personality all the questions that you desire right now on air. And
Do
we're
it.
here this is our English speaking show, American in Yerevan. We are on air every Wednesday and Friday from 9 to 11 p.m. and we are discussing now Tico's exchange year. Right?
Yeah, his time in New
Sure.
Mexico.
Did you think of any funny, weird, or stories that you could tell? Maybe there were like real, because I can think of numerous weird questions I was asked in the United States
Yeah.
about Armenia.
What is an Armenian?
Especially, yeah, they go like, "Are you from another planet? Where are you from? What state is it in?" Stuff like that. So
no, I had something similar about that with my host dad, and I just remember this one. When I first arrived to my host family, my host dad was like, "So where are you from?" I'm like, "Armenia." It's like, "Romania?" I'm
Romania.
like,
Yeah,
"No, Armenia."
yeah, that's
It's like,
classic.
"Where is that?" I'm like, "Well, between Georgia and Turkey." And I'm kind of trying to explain geographically, and they're like, "The state Georgia?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, and then he broke off laughing, being like, "They named the country after a bird, Turkey." Okay, then he got serious and was like, "So was it in the Soviet Union?" I'm like, "Yes, it was." He's like, "Okay, so you're from Russia." I'm like, "No, I'm from Armenia. Soviet Union's gone long ago." It didn't help me
This
out.
is so
Believe me, I've been
familiar.
there for 10 months. Every single time he was introducing me to his friends, being like, "Meet Tico, he's from Russia." I'm like, "Not Russia, guys."
did you have a map with you? Because I
I
always used
didn't,
to
no.
carry a map with me. And okay, wait a second. Here is former Soviet Union stuff.
Well, one of our girls had a problem with a map in the United States. She was trying to find Armenia on the map, and she couldn't find it. And then she realized that Armenia was pinned down by a pin. It was right after.
Oh no, it's that small?
Okay.
Aw.
Okay, then what happened when you came back, okay?
Well, I came back. Eventually. First of all, I was planning to enter a law school, but by the time I came back, I realized that my Armenian wasn't that good. 10 months, no Armenians around in New Mexico. Come on. Yeah.
Really? You forgot you're Armenian?
Yeah, I forgot a lot of my Armenian.
Remember, I was
seriously.
telling you the other time.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
people will
and
forget Armenian.
I forgot all of the Armenian history, which are two mandatory things for an examination for a law school in here. And I was like, okay, well, I love programming. I studied programming in America, and I thought it
IT,
was
perfect.
much fun. But at the same time, I realized that my personality is just very active. I cannot just sit and program all day long. So.
Yeah.
We had a conversation with my mom, and she was like, "Well, why don't you combine them in doing IT management?" So the only university that had it back then was a European Regional Academy, and their IT faculty is really good. Well, at least it used to be really good, and I really enjoyed my studies in there. Started studying in there. I took a break on the second year of my education, went to serve in Army, more specifically police forces or the Special Weapons and Tactics SWAT
Wow.
forces. Yeah, and those were tough times because of the the 1st of March and all the oppositional thing
Yeah.
that was going on. So, but I made it. I came back. I continued my education. Started leading the English club of the university. Later on, I became the head of the student council of the faculty, and later I got.
He's such a smart guy,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
In fact, you know, Tico, in fact, we have some funny jokes about IT technologies. You want to
Go-
listen to them?
Go for it, Ida. Do
Wait,
it.
we can listen to a couple of them, and then we're gonna have a break again. I have to tell that, but yeah, okay. Let's do it really quickly. A wife sent her husband an SMS on a cold winter evening. Windows frozen. The husband sent answer back. Pour some warm water over them. Sometimes later, husband receives an answer from his wife. The computer is completely fucked now. Pardon my French. There is another one. Just a second. A female secretary was helping her new boss set up his computer and asked him what word he would like to use as a password to log in with. Wanting to embarrass his new secretary a bit, he smugly told her to enter penis without blinking or saying a word. She entered the password. She almost died laughing at the computer's response. Password rejected. Not long enough.
Ooh, ouch.
Okay, guys, we need to go for a break and then come back with more jokes and funny stories about Tico.
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're. It is so wonderful.
Life is Wonderful by James Mraz, and we're back in our studio with our wonderful guest, Tico Gevorkyan, discussing all the interesting stuff about Aurora project. Could you please tell us about it a little bit? But we had one of our episodes we had in the past was dedicated to your project, but I think it's more interesting to listen to it from a person who was actually in all this thing. You were the volunteer coordinator, right?
I was. Well, to give our listeners a full picture of what the Aurora Prize is, I think the first thing that we have to present is the Idea Foundation, and
Yes.
a lot of people know the projects that Idea Foundation have done, but they don't know Idea Foundation as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, like, oh, you did the Dot-Have Revival project and the Dot-Have Ropeway.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Yeah, Inu was part of that too. Right?
Yeah.
It was great.
So, Dot-Have Ropeway was built by our foundation. Another project is Dilijan International School, the UWC International School. I was there actually today, and I just came back a couple of hours ago. Wonderful place.
And boy, are my arms tired. Right?
Yeah. The third biggest project would be the Tbilisi St. George Church Revival
Armenian
project.
Church.
Yeah, St. Gevork in Armenian. And the latest one was Aurora Prize, actually. Aurora Prize is a prize which is given on behalf of the survivors of the Armenian genocide to the people who saved just so many lives during the genocide. Like, it's given in the name of the survivors of the genocide and of the generation that came after. By that I mean us too. And
But not only, right?
well, it's given on behalf of, I would say, the grateful Armenian nation to anyone, any person in the world that is out there to save lives of the others by risking his or her own life. And last year, we had 113 nominations from all over the world.
Wow.
Unique stories, Like really, it was.
How does someone get nominated? How is that decision made?
Yeah, he's not nominating himself. Rather, other people nominate him. So if you saw a person run into a building which was on fire and saved, I don't know, 200 people, you can easily go online, fill out the form. We're opening the application pretty soon for the nominations again. For the upcoming year. So if you know a story, make sure to write it. Then our story verification team will verify the story. And if it's good, he will be on our nominees list.
How is the I'm imagining the verification process. Like, a lot of these stories came out of like developing countries, didn't they? Like, how do they verify something like that? Are they calling up villagers in a third world country?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I would say that most of the stories were from the MENA region. So Africa, Syria, a lot of the stories were from Syria too, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Well, calling is one of the ways, but the story verification team would often travel to the places and try to find evidences as well.
Really? Wow.
Being like, talking to the people, the survivors who survived. But I'm very proud to say that like last year when Margaret Barranquilla has been awarded the prize. I mean, those are the kind of stories that, those are people who are saving just so many lives that, when we're talking about a person who saved 30,000 lives, it's very easy to kind of
to throw that number out there so simply, right? 30,000.
30,000. That's a big number, and that's what our prize is all about. It's about saving lives, and it's about saying thank you.
It also kind of, sorry to interrupt you, but it also kind of helps us to be more careful and look around and notice these kind of things.
Yeah, that's a good
Definitely.
point.
Even though the motivation is to apply for this project and to recommend someone, maybe, and it makes us to be more
kind of aware of what's going on around us,
aware
looking for
and
those
appreciate these
definitely,
kind of people.
definitely. And I mean, it's it's a way to say thank you to the world. It's a way to say, hey, you know what? We as a nation who has survived the Armenian genocide, we understand what it means when someone saves your life, and we want to say thank you to everyone who still does it, who still saves other people's life, and we'll want to find those person and award them with a prize. It includes a $100,000 thank you award.
100,000 or
100,000. But moreover, in order to continue the chain of donations, I would say, the chain of giving, we're allowing the person to nominate an organization or organizations to receive $1 million.
wow.
Those are the organizations that he think will continue his job the one he started, or he thinks that those were the organizations that motivated him to do his deed. But yes, this year was the first year, and we were just so very happy. Oh, thank you very much. We actually had a very, very hard task to do. We had, there were around 300 international guests coming to Armenia.
Wow.
Some of them being like extreme VIPs.
Meaning what, like high security?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The security was on top level. It was, I would say, on the presidential level as well, because on the main event, obviously the president was there too. But when you have people coming like George Clooney, who a lot of people again think that George
Clooney fell in love with him.
Yeah, but a lot of people think.
Oh, we have a caller. Sorry,
Okay.
just a second. Hello. Oops. Maybe next time again.
No luck?
No luck.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, come on, try again.
I
We're
scrambled
still
for my
here.
headphones.
Yeah. We are still here.
So a lot of people ask me, why is George Clooney coming? Is he coming as an actor? And the answer is no. He's one of the founders of Not On Our Watch Foundation, which
Not a
is
lot
a
of people
foundation.
knew about this.
I don't know about that.
That's a
Yeah.
foundation that fights genocides all around the world, and he's one of the co-founders of that foundation. So he came as a co-founder of the foundation. There were other people. We had, we had 4 Nobel Peace Prize nominees who came to Armenia. We had I know Vartan Grigoryan, head of the Carnegie Foundation. We had Elie Wiesel, who's also a Nobel Prize laureate. So 4 laureates of Nobel Peace Prize. We had representatives from UN, Australia's foreign prime minister, Ireland's former president.
Wow.
So those
Wow.
are all people who have shown themselves as to be big
It's
humanitarians.
another great thing to like put Armenia on an international
Yeah,
level.
Yeah.
it puts Armenia on the world map as a humanitarian country, a country which is willing to say thank you to the world.
And one of the
Right.
greatest things I think that this project did is put genocide from how to say from this negative tune to a more positive, like a
Yeah.
more life assuring.
Definitely.
Notes. This is-
That was one of the aims of the project, was to kind of destroy the victim psychology.
Yeah.
To say,
Yes,
you know what,
exactly.
okay, we have basically cried for 100 years, and it's
That's
not like
enough.
we deny it, we still remember and we still mourn, but
It's time to
firstly, those people
on.
were sanctified on the 100th anniversary of the genocide. And secondly, we want to make a step forward. We want to say, you know what, we still remember, but we're moving forward and we're trying
Right.
to do something about
Right.
it.
That's great. And so
This is great, and
Oh.
so we need to go back to our music break, and I'd like to remind our caller, please try again, don't give up. It's 560-901, and we're still here 40 more minutes, and we're gonna listen to Coldplay, Don't Panic. Yeah, don't panic, call
don't
us
panic.
back.
Call us back. Yeah.
I'm not the only one, but the only one who is, that is our sponsor. Our only official sponsor. And we need to talk about
Tell
that.
us about it, Ina.
Yes. Mosaic Sky Restaurant and Bar, which is located on 15 Khorenatsi in Elite Plaza on the 17th,
17th floor.
and also 18th floor, which is open now, available for summer with wonderful view to entire city.
Yeah, beautiful views, a large selection of wines, cocktails, desserts, and meals. And right now at the bar, they're having a DJ playing, DJ Berezovsky and DJ Hidden.
Yeah, so if you're thinking of where to spend your Friday night and to chill, to have some cocktails, to enjoy the views, go ahead and go there. They're still playing some nice music there. Have you been there, Tikoja?
Haven't actually.
It's a nice information for you to go there.
It
maybe
is.
next
It
time.
is.
You know, there's like the really inspiring view of both Mountain Ararat and Aragats.
Oh,
They
wow.
have like 2 halls in the restaurant.
Uh-huh.
A really, really beautiful and fancy designed restaurant, and they have these 2 views, like the large windows, and on the left there is the Mountain Ararat, and on the right Mountain Aragat, and you can enjoy
Wow.
your anything, like the meal or the wine or your dessert.
That sounds good.
looking,
Yeah, sounds nice.
looking at those beautiful scenes. Yes, and let's go back to our Aurora Prize.
Yeah.
I think Tico hasn't finished the story yet.
There's a lot to tell, right?
Well-
So what were you doing there at the Aurora Prize?
I was a volunteer coordinator, and I'm still working in the Idea Foundation as a volunteer coordinator. And basically, we had 170 volunteers
Wow.
participating during Aurora Prize ceremony, which was a very large amount. And you have so many volunteers working. You always have a kind of a pleasant mess, I would say. It's a pleasant rush. You have people 24 hours in the airport who are doing awesome job. People in Marriott and the Golden Tulip hotels, 24 hours standing in there. And a huge group of young men and young women who are helping throughout the events. Logistical issues, translations, helping out the guests, answering the questions, showing the ways. I mean, that everything takes very detailed preparation
And a lot of time.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of time, a lot of
Lot of-
nerves, I would say.
And I'm sure a lot of patience as well, right?
Yeah,
It's probably got to be like
definitely.
herding cats sometimes.
Definitely, and when you're having an event, and when you're having an event this big, it's not like you have a outlined plan, but you can't follow it 100% all the
Right.
time. It's
You
because
gotta
the
be
event is
adaptable,
huge. Yeah, and you're always running around checking everything is okay here. Okay, everything. Oh, we have something in there. We gotta fix this. And there are just so many stories that a lot of my volunteers told me. I remember.
Were there some funny ones?
Yeah, well, they're funny ones. So I was in the airport with the volunteers standing, and Vartan Grigoryan was supposed to come out, and one of the girls is telling me, Tico, wouldn't be that too cool for us if Vartan Grigoryan would come up from this entrance, and I'm like, it might not be. It would be very cool, but I don't know if that's gonna work. So and Vartan Grigoryan comes up, and the guys are like, "Wow, that's cool!" And then she's like, "Tico, wouldn't be that cool if he kind of approached us, like?" And Vartan Grigoryan approaches us, and
Autograph?
and he comes
what
up to
comes
us,
next.
and he comes up to us, and he's like, "Guys, thank you for doing a great job. Would you like to take a photo with me?" And I'm turning to the girl being
Dreams
like,
come
now
true.
that's very cool. The same thing I know happened with George Clooney too. He saw one of the volunteers being like, "Hey, do you want to take a photo with me?"
Whoa.
And it was like
photo.
the entire country was, bragging about a picture with George Clooney.
Oh,
They were
yeah,
I'm
posting
sure.
it
I'm
on
sure.
Facebook.
Trying to hunt him down probably
Yeah.
to get that pic.
Definitely. I don't know. It's just like the event was. I would call it a huge success because of the hard work that was done by the whole staff of Idea Foundation, the 100 Lives Initiative, and the volunteers. There are just like so many people working on this ceremony to try to make everything in the best possible manner. Of course, there were some things that something didn't work at that moment, so you were trying to fix it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the staff members were like, we were giving 100% of our energy to that, because it's just like when you have a project that
Responsibility.
yeah, you have a responsibility, and it's like a kid that is growing slowly, and eventually on April 24th, it is born.
And how do you feel when it's all over now? Because
I
kind
cannot
of
remember it.
emptiness.
I cannot remember it without a smile. It was awesome. Like really, we were getting overexhausted, but it was fun at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember 45 minutes before the ceremony started, I walked into the office and I was literally falling off from my feet, and I was like, "Guys, I'm taking a nap. 10 minutes. I'm putting an
10-minute
alarm.
power nap, right?
Yeah, power nap, 10 minutes. And I put the alarm. I lay down, and I was trying to, fall asleep, but I kept on receiving calls, so I couldn't sleep that 10 minutes either. But and that was the same story with the whole staff. We were working 24 hours a day. But what's good, we have good feedbacks from our guests. They really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And that's what really matters.
And what I've heard is that the event it just finished. What was it, last month or
It
2
was April 24th, actually.
April 24th, right?
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, you guys are already started. Like, it's busy time right now to get ready for next
For
year.
next
Yeah,
year.
yeah. We're actually slowly starting to gather the stories for the next year, which means that we're looking for salvation stories. So if any of our listeners right now have salvation stories, go for it. The application
go ahead and
will.
apply.
Yeah, definitely. Send
Well,
those.
how do they apply? Let us...
There's an application form online. You go to auroraprize.com or
auroraprize.com?
.am. Yeah. There's an application which will be open pretty soon, and you can send your stories, and if they're true, and if there are salvation stories,
Feel free.
Huh?
Yeah, feel free to apply.
Yeah, definitely. The
To
person
recommend
whose story
someone.
you're sending is definitely going to become one of our nominees.
Were there any just kind of jokes or almost silly recommendations? Like someone, I rescued a cat, and they're give me $100,000.
Well, you always have when there is a big thing, you cannot not receive
You
any.
cannot,
Right, right.
You
still
cannot
applica-
avoid idiots.
But yeah, of course there were. But our selection committee is pretty tough on doing the initial selection, etc. So they kind of and we're left with 113 unique and
Wow.
original correct stories.
That's neat.
Yeah, 113.
Tico,
That's yeah.
were you entertaining your volunteers with some of your magic?
I did actually. Again, like
To get rid of
we
the
were-
stress,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah, if you didn't hear, Tico's a very multi-talented person, and he knows magic.
Yeah,
He's a
we
magician.
still has to speak about his sports and
Oh, yeah.
acting thing.
Do we have time to talk about that as well?
Rafi, could you read one of those magic quotes?
Sure,
Because,
yes I can.
Because I think Tigran would like some of them.
Yeah,
maybe.
definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So this one I found online. It's by Tom Robbins. Disbelief in magic can force a poor soul into believing in government and business. A little cynical right there. Terry Pratchett, A Hat Full of Sky. It's still magic even if you know how it's done.
Yeah, like the card, like the card.
Yeah. Let's see.
There was a good one about a child. Where is it? Is it still
I
there?
have a poem. I have a poem here by Shel Silverstein, Where the Sidewalk Ends.
Here we go. A special poem by Rafi Petrosyan. First time on radio.
Well, it's not by me. I'll read it, but it's by Shel Silverstein.
Performed by Rafi. Let's go.
Okay. Magic. Sandra's seen a leprechaun. Eddie touched a troll. Laurie danced with witches once. Charlie found some goblin's gold. Donald heard a mermaid sing, and Susie spied an elf. But all the magic I have known, I've had to make myself.
Yeah.
That was very beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
A lot of sense in that.
I'll take credit for that.
Actually,
A beautiful voice. That's for sure.
That's definitely. Magic for me. I hear Rafi speak, like reading different quotes. For me, like I do totally agree with those quotes. Every magician or person. I don't consider myself to be a magician in any way. I'm a person who does magic, but I'm not like anyway close to professional magicians. But like any person who's performing magic, I guess they have their purpose why they do that. Some people want to entertain others. Me myself personally, I find a lot of philosophy to the magic. To the magic show, the magic trick that we have shown here in the audience, and I guess Ina has put it online.
Yeah, you can find it
Yeah,
online
you
if
can
you want
find
to see
it
the trick
online.
later.
You can find it on our page, and some more magic when we come back after our break. We still have 20 more minutes to go.
Well,
Okay.
if you let me just finish real
Yeah,
quickly.
sure.
So basically what I'm trying to say, if you look at the video, you will see that magic is about, you feel like you have something, but it turns out that you have something different. And that's how life is too. Sometimes you think that you have everything under control when you don't, but you still have something on your hands.
And you still have people who say, wow. Stay tuned with American Yerevan for 20 more minutes. We're going to listen to Robin Thicke, Tie My Hands. Lemonade by Coco Rosie, one of the most unusual songs that I've heard.
I really like it.
Yeah, it's something really interesting, and here it happens again. And each time I won't get tired of saying this, that time flies here so fast because it's probably because we enjoy.
Yeah, we had a great time tonight.
Yeah, we had a great time with Tico and had really, really diverse and interesting conversation and stories of all areas, let's say. And I'd like to remind our listeners that we have an application, Radio One, which you can download and listen to us anywhere you go on your smartphones.
Anywhere, anytime.
Anywhere, anytime. And you can also watch us live on www.radiovan.fm.
Yeah, and they'll be able to see Tico's magic trick there, right?
Of course. Well, we have already posted the video, so they could see it on our page, American Yerevan, and as well as on Radio Van Facebook page. And we really enjoy our evenings here on Wednesday and Friday from 9 to 11, officially sponsored by Mosaic Sky Restaurant
and bar.
Since we have some more time, could you please share us about one more thing? Your acting experience. What is
I
this?
know.
Yeah, what's going on there?
I'm probably the, I'm getting people confused a lot when I say, you know what, I'm an IT guy, I'm an IT specialist. I've done programming for a while, then I've done management of the programming team. But I'm generally into IT, and people get confused when I say, you know what, I also do theater. You're like an acting...
It's an interesting mix.
yeah, IT specialist who's doing acting. But yeah, that it is what it is. I love being on stage. I love acting. Part of the Theater for Changes, let's call it initiative. We're actually Theater for Change is the biggest representative of interactive theater in Armenia. I don't know. Do you guys know what interactive theater is?
Is it
Yes,
where I interact
I do.
as an audience member? I get to tell you what to do, kind of thing, or
Kind of. You
You can
me
get a
myself.
chance to participate.
Me
in-
myself, I'm a part of a forum theater, which is part of it is a variation of interactive theater. So basically, you have a play which ends up with a conflict, and in the end, we kind of replay the parts from the show where there were conflicts, and the question is asked: if it was you, would you do something different, or would you say something different? Well,
What would you
you're
do?
given an opportunity to walk up on the stage, substitute the main actor or actress, play with your own words, and we will improvise.
It's kind of like,
Ah.
if you can do it better, go ahead.
Yeah, kind of.
give it a shot. Let's see.
It's especially good for Armenians because they always like to, be critical.
Yeah, and
of
they know
certain
the
things.
best way to do
Okay,
things.
so you
yeah.
go ahead and do it yourself.
Definitely.
I love it.
I mean, yeah, Theater for Changes. I mean, to all of the listeners right now, if you're willing to come, we would be more than happy to see you in there.
Yeah, where
Our
they can
entrances are
find the
typically free
information.
for everyone, so you can just pop in there.
Where they can find this information.
Well, our Facebook page, Theater for Changes.
Theater
we're
for Change
yeah.
on Facebook.
Yep. Well,
Theater for Changes.
Changes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Changes.
we always post our upcoming events when we're playing in Yerevan or in regions. We're traveling quite a lot. I mean, but by that I mean you'll have a chance to see us not only in Yerevan but also in Marses.
You know what? It always ends up with these creative people. At the end of the day, we
Yeah,
find
it
out
is.
that the people that we invite are really creative.
We just wanted an IT professional today,
Yeah.
but it turned out to be so much more.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know. Tell us real quickly about your award.
Award?
Yeah,
Which one do you mean?
the IT, the best IT.
Oh, 2012, I think it was. Was
It's
one
not a
of the.
joke,
Yeah, I was one of the one of the students who got to receive a Republic of Armenia Presidential Award on being one of the best IT students in the country. So I don't know, it's just
Wow.
it's something I'm shy to talk about.
Acting best IT. 2000 what? 2000?
2012.
2012. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bravo. Well, thank you, Tigran Jan. Tico. I keep saying Tigran, but then I think that doesn't sound
Yeah,
good.
that sounds very official. Actually, I'm always telling to my friends, it's like, you know what? When someone calls me and say Tigran, I'm always like, what?
Means
This is an official call.
Yeah.
This is an official call.
This guy does not
no
know
one
me.
tells me Tigran.
No, this means he's in trouble.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a call.
What
from
does
the
your mom
bank, it's
call
a
you?
call-
Is it
Huh?
Tigran or Tico?
Tico.
With no middle names.
Yeah.
Like,
Tico.
Well,
my mom
is
used to
there-
call me Coco when I was a little kid. So.
Coco.
Yeah.
Coco Rosie.
Coco Rosie. Is there anything you'd like to add
To what? To my biography or?
To our listeners,
to
just
our
to put you on the
listeners, to
spot,
our
is there
show,
anything profound you'd like to say
because
at the
it's
very last
interesting
moment?
for us to. We're really impressed of your presence here, about of
Thank you
all
very
your
much.
stories. And what about you? What do you think about our show? And
I'm to be honest, I was invited to come to the show just yesterday.
Yeah.
And
He's a good sport, man. He jumped on and said,
yeah,
I'll do it.
and Rafi wrote me on Facebook being like, "Would you come?" And I was like, "How much time do I have to give you an answer?" And he was like, 30 minutes.
3 minutes.
And I'm like, "Okay, I'm coming." Because, well, firstly, I'm not the first time being in the Radio
Interviewed?
Van office. And I really love the atmosphere that is here. And secondly,
We
when
are family.
when I knew that Rafi is going to be one of the hosts, and then he wrote me on Facebook. I think my co-host Ina MK, and I'm like, oh wow, Ina.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was like, and at the very same moment, I knew that it was going to be like a good friendly conversation, and I'm actually very happy to be in here. I'm feeling like at home kind of as
Yeah, just leaned on the sofa.
yeah, leaned on the sofa. We're having a good conversation.
Yeah. Take your shoes off, put your feet up, relax.
Relax, enjoy.
Yeah.
No, the
Well,
pleasure was all ours, man. It was great.
It's
Thank you
all
very much.
mutual. Thanks for being with us tonight. And I hope that this is not the last time,
No, we'll see him again, I'm sure.
of course. And you guys, for all our listeners that are there, we wish you a good Friday night ending, maybe, or continuation. Why
Yeah.
not?
The night is young.
The night,
The
is,
night
young.
is young.
And see you next Wednesday with Rafi Pedrosan.
And Ina MK.
Stay safe.
Bye bye.
Tico, make us disappear.
You know